Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, for this talk, we're going to go over roughly 15 to 20 characters, something along these lines, of characters I would buff to different degrees and redesign. So, we are going to have 4 different tiers that I'm also going to, rename now. Buff a lot, buff some, buff little, and redesign. So yeah, this is gonna be our 4 tiers, and as I said, I intend on getting 15 to 20 characters in total across the 4 categories, which means that most characters will stay the same. Partly, I'm not a super big fan of the nerf culture. I do not think any character in its current state is absolutely overpowered by any means. I think a bunch of characters can win super majors as of now, and I think that's going to continue to be the case. So we're going to focus more on buff and redesigning cases where I'm like, these characters, they're not necessarily good, but they have just awful design, if you ask me. But I'm going to try to keep not too many characters in redesign. But we'll see where we end up. All right. Kirby, even though I partly feel like he still needs to pay for his sins since 64, as I sometimes joke about, Kirby has actually been like very bad for the most part. Like, he was incredibly good in 64, obviously, but in Melee he was trash. Some of his throws didn't even work, among a lot of other horrible things. In Brawl he was not too bad. He was actually alright. I actually would like to see Kirby's hammer from Brawl make a reappearance in this game. I feel like that could help him quite a bit. You also could buff his aero mobility a little bit. Not so it's like super annoying like melee puffs, but his aero mobility in this game is quite bad. Another thing is like his forward throw into fair. Like at side platforms, a lot of characters just end up on the side platform. So you remove his like combo throw as well, practically. So I could see Kirby getting buffed a lot. Weak character, been bad for many games. So yeah, Kirby, he could get buffed quite a lot. I don't want him to be amazing, but he doesn't. He actually doesn't have to be trash in every game. Just almost. Bowser Jr. I would also put here. I know some people will say he was a Bowser Jr. player that got top 8 at Albion. I still do not think this character is very good. I think the player that got top 8 was great with the character in combination with matchup inexperience from other people. I would like to see this character getting buffed quite a lot. I think the character is pretty bad. I know a lot of combos from the side beat happened at Albion. I partly feel like this move is reactable. It's just that people were not very familiar with the situation and how much damage that the Bowser Jr. actually can give if you fall for this. Overall, weak character. Been in 2 Smash games. Was very bad in Smash 4 too. Bowser Jr. is actually one of my not top tier picks for favorite Nintendo characters, but like high tier. I like Bowser Jr. a lot, and I would like to see him get buffed a lot. I think he deserves it. Same thing with Piranha Plant. Again, now some people will mention that I think it was Brood. Brood, legend from Brawl, got second at Apex 2012. If I remember correctly. No, or wait. No, that was Nietono. I'm thinking Brood that was Apex 2010. When he beat Mewtwo King and got second at that tournament. Sorry, I mixed it up. It was 2 different Olimars from Japan. But yeah, Brood second at an American tournament, Apex as well. I just mistook the years. But yeah, Brood won a tournament, if I remember correctly, in Japan with Piranha Plant. I will admit that I haven't seen the footage yet, so I will try to check that out when I have a chance. But even so, I'm still pretty sure I won't change my mind too much about the character. Brood also, by the way, I think beat Zero in Smash 4 at one of the Genesis. Genesis, yeah, 3 or 4. I don't remember. One of the Genesis. But yeah, Piranha Plant kind of feels like Smash 4 character. A bunch of lag on like pretty much all his aerials, and a lot of his like special moves are also kind of gimmicky. Like if you're really good at using them, they kind of work, but long term, I don't really think the character is a good investment. And for being a DLC character, sort of, I know he's not on the fighter pass, but still, I feel like Piranha Plant should be quite a lot better. What else? Alright, next character. I'm not sure if I should put this character at buff a lot or redesign. I feel like this character could be in both categories. Redesign, buff a lot. I guess this character might be a combination of the both. But I'll put him at buff a lot. Also, new character in the Smash series. For me, it always feels a little bit more sad when like new characters end up being really bad, because people, you know, they're excited about, you know, oh, my favorite character, they're getting into Smash, and then it's like, oops, this character sucks. He sucks. He's so bad. Like, I can't believe that the first like few days that a lot of people were like, oh, this character is like super good. I guess it was like the online experience, heavies being incredibly overrated due to online, grounded from like his one of his throws, so people, you know, don't want to mash out of berries. Yeah, no, just yeah, please make this character better. Like buff a lot of his moves / redesign him. Either or. I actually could see this character end up in both categories, and I wouldn't feel that it's wrong if you put him here or down here. Yeah, I think that's the characters I would buff a lot for now. We might go back to this tier, but yeah, I think we're good for now. Buff some. In this tier, I might end up a little bit biased because Corinne, I personally enjoy. Corinne was actually one of my characters I played the most at the Ultimate Invitational. Some people might not know about that because the way it worked at Invitational, it was like snake order, right? So someone, you know, was lucky to pick character first. I think he was lucky, ironically. And then, you know, whoever had second picked the character, then third, fourth, and so on, and then reverse order. And I picked Ivysaur first, hoping Corinne was going to come back to me, but Abadango, who got, you know, quite a few uppers too many, stole Corinne from me. So it feels a bad moment. No, but enough about that. But Corinne, I really enjoyed Corinne in the demo at first, until I truly realized how slow this character is. I don't know if it was a combination of like, you know, coming in fresh to Ultimate, expecting, you know, because like visually the game looks pretty similar to Smash 4, so maybe that was also part of it. But I truly enjoy Corinne, and the two main weaknesses of this character I feel like is really slow and very bad recovery. I don't mind the character having a bad recovery. I think it's pretty fun when characters have exploitable recoveries as well. But please make the character faster. The character would be so much more fun to play if the character was faster. So that's probably how I would buff Corinne. A lot faster. Maybe make some moves connect a little bit better, down tilt into up tilt, for example. So it's like always true. You could give Corinne some type of follow-up from grab. Doesn't have to be too much, but right now Corinne have nothing from grab. So it's like a lot of weaknesses overall. But my favorite buff would be running faster, being faster, both on the ground and in the air. Because right now it feels like it's not really any point of playing Corinne. It's like 20 sword characters, and Corinne is like arguably the worst sword fighter. That makes me sad. So Corinne, I would buff some. I'm not sure if I should put Dr. Mario here, but maybe. One part of me is like, we have Mario already. Do we have to buff Dr. Mario? But I don't know. His combo potential feels a lot worse than Mario's, mainly due to up air. So I could see Dr. Mario getting some buffs, mainly in that, area. Maybe not so it's as strong as Mario's, but a little bit more. Because right now I feel like we don't really see any Dr. Marios. What else? My main from the Forbidden Smash game, the one we can't, mention by name. PM. No, but Pit. For me, Pit and PM in the early days of PM was incredibly fun to play. And even though I do agree that some of the stuff was crazy good and like a bit too OP, which also was like a lot of characters in that version of PM, but the character had a lot of fun stuff to do. And in this game, Pit feels so bland, so basic, and it just makes me sad. I don't see any reason for anyone to really main this character. The character doesn't have anything outstanding whatsoever. Some people might say, oh, the recovery is really good. No, the recovery is not even that good either. Because it's just really slow. It's like a way worse Inkling or a Joker uppy. So no, not even the recovery is that good. Honestly, I could see almost every move get buffed by Pit by a little bit, and the character still wouldn't be like, S tier. So Pit, I feel like you could buff in any type of direction. Yeah, Pit is like, way too honest. Way too little like stuff to excel at. Makes me sad. Yeah, neutral heavy, I would agree on. Very neutral heavy in its current state. Dude, I want to see some more of that, the side B from PM, where you could like slide forward super fast and then cancel it with jump. That was crazy to like chase with combos and stuff. I want to see that shit. Then the Swedish sniper maybe would make a return. Actually, probably not, since I don't like maining the same character, but it'll be fun. So, if I like specific buffs for Pit, if I had to choose some, would probably be overall speed and combo ability, which I feel like Pit, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like you can't do any combos, but damage output compared to some of the really good characters, I feel like is kind of lacking. Speed is quite bad. You don't really have too much in terms of good approach options. So some combination of those. All right, this tier actually ends up characters I enjoy, so I put them here. But to be fair, none of them are that good. Same with Mewtwo. One of the coolest Pokemons. Of course, not as cool as Bulbasaur, but some battles you can't win. But besides that, Mewtwo, incredibly cool. Always enjoy this character. Mewtwo was like my first real main in this game. But sadly, the more I played him, the more I felt like it's really not worth it. I might be underestimating the character right now due to like how bad some of his weaknesses feels. But the character, despite being so big, is like equally as heavy as like Pikachu and Olimar. Are you kidding me? You look at Mewtwo, and then you look at Pikachu down there, and you're like, oh, you guys are equally heavy? Makes absolutely no sense. Give Mewtwo some justice. So also, like, he's really light. really big, so hard to get out disadvantage. If you compare his up B to Palutena, he has more lag, so that's also making it harder to get out of disadvantage. He has no combos from throws. His tip or down tilt don't really lead to anything. Come on, Sakurai. Come on. Like, back in my days, this was the strongest Pokemon on the planet. Come on, give him something. Give him something. Mewtwo don't have to be super heavy. Like, I don't think he should be like a Bowser heavy or DDD heavy, but at least make him as heavy as like Ridley or something. So yeah, buffs from Mewtwo. I will give him something from grab. That will be a pretty common theme. Some people are like, oh, but it's so brain dead, blah blah blah. The thing is, it's also very brain dead when characters don't get anything from grab, because that means shield gets quite a bit more powerful. And I know shield is nerfed in this game, but still, when you add good options from grab, shield becomes even worse. And I think that leads to more exciting gameplay personally, both to play and to watch. Alright, so I guess this category will add one more character that also is characters I enjoy that are not that good. Ridley. Ridley, similar to some of the characters, you know, like up here with Piranha Plant, King K. Rool. A brand new character. A lot of people have wanted Ridley included in Smash for like 2 decades, pretty much. Finally makes it in. He's not nearly as bad as like King K. Rool, I would say, but Ridley still have glaring weaknesses, mainly from the fact that also incredibly big, lighter than you would have expected for its size. Ridley do have great ledge trapping, great tilts. All the aerials besides down air is really good. I'm not entirely sure what the best way to buff this character would be without making the character silly. I don't know. Probably making the character slightly heavier, because Ridley is quite a bit lighter than some of the true heavies in this game. Ridley, I would also say uppy angles. Not that I'm against bad recoveries, but Ridley's uppy angles makes no sense. It's really bad. Like, if it's like a recovery that is exploitable, then it should still work like properly. I don't feel like Ridley's uppy works properly. It's like they forgot some code for the angles for Ridley. So I'll give more angles and a bit faster uppy as well. Maybe make the character slightly faster overall too. Fast characters tends to lead to more exciting gameplay as well. I would buff Sheik. I will buff Sheik a little bit. Not too much, since Sheik was top tier in Smash 4. And to be fair, she was top tier in Melee too. So if you make your top tier here, that would be like 3 out of 4 games, which is a little bit too much. But I still would like to see Sheik being a bit higher up. Sheik is really good in some areas, really fast. Like the frame data is amazing, good ledge trapping, good off stage. Have a long combos and stuff like that as well. Issue is incredibly bad damage output. Like sometimes you feel like the sickest player on the planet. You combo someone across the stage 10 times and they look at the damage and you're like, damn, that was 30? Was that 1% per hit? And you're like, that sucks. The other issue with Sheik is killing, of course. So I would suggest buff one of these. Like either buff both of them a tiny bit each, or one of them quite a bit. I feel like that would put Sheik in a place where she's quite a lot better, but still not S tier. Even though I think Sheik is a pretty fun character to have as an S tier, it's also good with like, you know, a mix of how often a character ends up being S tier. So I would put Sheik in the buff a little tier, and in one of these two ways, most likely, or a tiny bit of both areas. Um, I'll also buff Cloud a little bit. Same thing here. He was like S tier in Smash 4, so I don't want to have him back to being S tier again. But a tiny bit of nerfs. He also have like an issue killing. He is bad off stage. He's easy to two frame compared to many other characters. So that's like some of the areas you could buff him. You could also make his nair or upper a little bit better again. They were better in Smash 4. So there's like, quite a few things you could buff with the character. But as I said, same thing with Sheik. I don't want this character to be S tier again, just because it's more interesting to have different characters being amazing and not always the same characters. So buff a little bit, but not too much. Do I like the time limit? I don't know. I think the way Cloud currently works, it's a little bit harsh for him to have such a low timer. If he was a bit better overall, it probably wouldn't feel as rough. So I feel like the concept of having a time limit is fine, because I feel like in Smash 4 a lot of people, they were using like the limits for a long time because of various stuff being better. So the timed limits kind of beats that you can't just keep it forever, or not forever, but I think you all know what I mean. So I think the time limit could work well, but you probably need to buff him a little bit so it's not too harsh on him. I would also buff Falco, Spaceys, Fast Fallers, whatever you want to name them. Tend to give for exciting gameplay. Like one of many reasons, but still one of the reasons that Melee is still such a popular game is partly due to the combo ability and edgeguard ability against fast fallers. And I feel like in this game, a lot of characters do have way too strong recoveries. Not all characters, like some of the heavies, for example, they don't. The Spaceys, they don't. Corinne don't have too good of a recovery. So it is some characters. But it also, for the most part, lead to more exciting gameplay. Because when people get off stage as a Falco, like they actually could die relatively early, unlike many other characters. So it's exciting gameplay. I also personally have not really been a fan of Falco since Melee. I know he was good in Brawl, but I was not really a fan of how the character worked. And then in Smash 4, the character was just garbage. Falco in this game have pretty good advantage stage. Like his combos and stuff are pretty good. But I feel like you could make laser a little bit better. Maybe like solo laser landing and it being like, not nearly as much lag. I know they're not gonna make, shines similar to Melee. But I don't know, making him a little bit faster and a little bit easier to kill with could help quite a bit. Like he does have some strong move like his backer, but it's hard to truly connect something into killing with Falco, I feel like. I would also buff Falcon. A little bit similar reasons to Falco. Falcon often leads to exciting gameplay. A lot of people enjoy watching Falcon. His knee, iconic to this day, despite being 2 decades later. Also the same weakness or similar weakness to Falco. Offstage gameplay, not too strong. So it does lead to many hype moments for sure. Falcon, I feel like you can make his initial dash faster. I feel like that could help a lot. That's the main thing. I don't really want to buff his recovery because I want some characters to have bad recoveries, as I said. Uh, so that's not really what I would buff. You can also make some of his like stuff that already have gotten buffed a little bit better on top of that. You could make his dash attack even better. Like you can make his dash attack a lot better. Like having good dash attacks is actually such like a good thing to have, but very few people or very few characters do. Squirtle, for example, Squirtle's dash attack is so good in this game. Like it leads to combos at low damage, mid damage, and even pretty high damage. It's like just such a good move to run up and dash attack to like counter attack someone. You think someone is gonna try to attack, like overshoot and like run extra far and then attack you, but then you just run in their face and do dash attack. For most characters, that lead to nothing in terms of combos, but for Squirtle, that leads to a lot. I feel like if Falcon's dash attack became really, really good in that regard, that could help the character too, especially if he gets better initial dash. This character I will probably get a lot of hate for saying, but I actually kind of want to see. I kind of feel like it's about time Yoshi truly gets some spotlight. Like in 64, you obviously can do work with Yoshi. I feel like every character in 64 can do stuff, just based on how the game works. He's also not too bad in melee. We've seen Amsa perform very well with the character. But in Brawl, not really much. Smash 4, he was this character that was often highly talked about, but we didn't really see much. And a little bit similar with Yoshi in this game so far. Yoshi being one of my favorite Nintendo characters. I will admit that Nair out of Shield, for example, is quite annoying. But Yoshi have a lot of fun moves to use. Like his upper is crazy. Like I remember playing Yoshi a lot. Early on in this game's lifespan, and he was a lot of fun. My main issue with Yoshi, this is super random, but it's one of the reasons I won't bother playing the character, is that I have to use tap jump. I've used tap jump, since I was a little kid, like playing 64, because you couldn't turn off tap jump back in the day, right? You could do that in Brawl and Smash games after that, but I use tap jump, and it's really annoying to do grounded eggs with tap jump on. I can do them, but every now and then you get a jump and the egg, and it's so annoying. And if I turn tap jump off, it's really annoying because it's so many situations where I actually use it. So it's a random fact, but that's part of the reason why I was like, yeah, I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn how to not use tap jump. It's just like I have relearned a lot of my muscle memory, but I was like, I don't want to relearn that specific muscle memory. I don't think Yoshi's super fit in my playstyle anyway, but I think he's pretty fun to watch. He's pretty fun to watch, even though he can be a bit annoying to fight against. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the characters for buff a little. Then we have the final tier, the redesign tier, the easiest choice on this list. Please redesign this character. This character is a contender for worst designed character in Smash history. If not the worst designed character, then it sure as hell is close to being the worst designed character in all of Smash. Literally, I feel like they haven't done anything. I feel like they haven't done anything right with Little Mac. I feel like, yeah, throw this character design into the trash can and start from scratch. I will say that I'm not against the idea of having a character really strong on the ground and weak in the air, but this concept is so they did it so bad. Little Mac have nothing in the air, so matches basically turns into like stay on platform, wait, don't interact. It leads to awful gameplay. So either you play incredibly boring, that's not fun for either player, or you stay on the ground and Little Mac is incredibly fast, he has a KO punch, These type of moves always really annoying to play against. KO punch, waft, rest, like incredibly annoying moves. People that kind of casually watch tournaments might be like, oh, this is super hype, but honestly, it gets incredibly stale very fast. It's a reason a lot of like higher level players don't enjoy it nearly as much on average. Some people at high level might do, but if you look at the correlation, lower level players slash not watching tournaments often, how much they enjoy these type of moves versus people watching a lot, it's a huge difference in my experience on how much they enjoy these type of moves. Then Little Mac is also full of super armor bullshit. I'm not really a fan of super armor periods. If you have like something that has like a little bit, sure, I can accept it. But Little Mac is like, at times he feels like a super armor walking machine on the ground. Incredibly annoying to play against. Like, I'm not saying he's a good character because obviously he's not. He's just very poorly designed. So I think you can tone down some of the bullshit on the ground, mainly the super armor stuff. KO punch, I feel like it's probably kind of in line with his character, but it shouldn't kill as early. I really think those type of moves are badly designed and should not be nearly as strong. And then you can make him weak in the air, but significantly stronger than he is now. So he's not hopeless in the air. So yeah, Sakurai, take this character, remove him in patch 3.2. Then you can bring him back for 3.3. Imagine if that was DLC. The final DLC is a remade Little Mac. Other characters I would like to see redesigned. This character did get some new stuff. Phantom, for example. But Zelda has been awful in like every Smash game. This is her best game, but she's still bad. Like, I'm not entirely sure how I would design the character myself given the chance, but I really feel like something needs to be done. I'm a little bit out of ideas on this one of how I would redesign Zelda, but I don't know. I feel bad for Zelda fans that she always ends up being bad. Arguably the worst character in Melee, awful in Brawl, awful in Smash 4. Not awful here, but that's overall just because the worst characters in this game are quite a bit better than the worst characters in other Smash games, with the exception of 64. Or I'm not even sure if I should say the exception of 64, but at the very least, the bad characters in 64 can compete much better than they can in Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4. So yeah, Zelda, I would redesign for sure as well. I think last character on this list is this one. I will admit that I'm not an expert on Lucario, but Rage and his, what is it called? His comeback mechanic, his aura is incredibly stupid. I remember watching Smash 4 Lucario, and I was like, are you serious? Like, who made this character, saw this character play, then was like, yes, this is it. This is the character we should have. I know Rage is toned down a lot in this game. Still bad, but it doesn't really impact matches that much. So I'm fine with it in this game, but it still exists. And Aura again. The rest of Lucario's like moveset and stuff, I'm not really against, but Aura is just like a really silly comeback mechanic. So if you do remove Aura, you obviously need to compensate with something. Whether you make him stronger overall, faster overall, like just something that isn't a bullshit comeback mechanic that in a way rewards you for losing. I'm never really a fan of that. Like, oh, you get hit, you get comboed, you're stuck behind. Oh, ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Lucario's design. It doesn't feel as silly in this game as Smash 4, mainly due to Rage being quite a lot weaker. But yeah, Lucario, I'm sorry, but you fall under the redesign category. Even though I feel like it's not as much as the other two, like Little Mac and Zelda, I feel like start from scratch. Lucario, you don't really have to start from scratch. A lot of his moves are fine, but it's mainly the aura that's the issue. And because of the aura, you have to buff a lot in other areas to compensate, unless you want to make the character quite bad. So yeah. This is gonna be. How many characters did we end up doing? 5, 10, 14, 17. Okay, so this is, 17. I was aiming for 15 to 20 characters that I would buff slash redesign. So yeah, I think we're gonna keep it to 17 characters. None of the other characters, if I'm looking at them, I'm like super like right away that I would do this for sure. Some of them I feel like are truly in a good spot, like they're really good, they're viable. More testing can be good as well. Some other characters I personally don't enjoy as much, which means that I also don't want to see them better. But yeah, no. Overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this list. Please let me know, everyone, what characters would you buff a lot, buff some, buff a little, and redesign slash throwing in the fucking trash can. Let me know.